In part one of our income protection roundtable, advisor Andrew Sherlock raised concerns with the shift from an own occupation to an any occupation definition after 2 years on claim. We asked Zurich's Adam Pratt for his thoughts on that question. Thanks for joining us, Adam. And we're just having a very brief conversation about an observation made by Andrew Sherlock in part one of our income protection roundtable that related to a concern that he had about the change in occupation definition whilst on claim once the 2-year mark has been reached. Any observations you'd like to make about that, Adam?
Look, I think it's a valid one, particularly for other advisors that may have not had experience in dealing with contracts that perhaps shift their definition midway through a protection claim. I've noticed it's something which a number of other insurers have now started to adopt as part of their rationale, and really it reflects on part of the metric from APRA where they've given life insurers their own ways to manage that risk of their book during those longer term claims. So, the approach we've taken is to change that definition. So shifting from an own occupation approach to, any occupation suited by education training experience. Others have adopted a different approach, which is a decrease in the amount which is paid throughout the term. And some have done a combination of both. And I think one of the things which would be hopefully provides a bit of certainty for not just Andrew, but other advisors that are perhaps looking at those contracts and the way in which they manage their term is that clients do not need to be totally and permanently disabled for that claim to continue beyond that 2-year mark.
Okay, so at the moment, particularly with the new round of IP offers that are in the market, there is quite a diversity in terms of the overall product package, part of which is a different treatment of the occupation definition after 2 years. But it would also be reasonable to suggest, though, that whilst Zurich does have its book of claims that do extend beyond 2 years, that as a proportion of overall claims, it's quite minor.
Yeah, it would certainly be the majority of claims which would perhaps be finalised in an earlier period. But with that, we do have many millions of dollars, even currently, open claims which are being paid well beyond 2 and even 5 years. What we do find with a lot of these claims, interestingly, Peter, is that they are in a partial capacity. So people may not necessarily be totally disabled, but they're working at some capacity. They might be working at just 20% capacity, 50%, 60% capacity. And these, I think, are the critically important claims that we assist, because what we're finding is because of an accident, an illness that might be incurred, people are really looking to return to work, and the vast majority of claimants really are quite keen, eager, proactive in returning to work. But they just can't work in their full capacity that they were prior to that injury or illness. So being able to continue to provide financial assistance, topping up their total income from obviously their earned income plus those partial claims, which we're continuing, as I say, long after 2, 3, and even 5 years, is providing significant benefit to many Australians today.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Adam. It's great to have an opportunity to have a brief conversation with you that drills down a little bit further into the question of what happens after 2 years on claim. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Peter.